And welcome to NBA Countdown Stay Home Edition. It is Thursday, and the good news is the NBA is back, and we're back. Maria Taylor, we got Jay Will, we got Uncle P. I think his back is better. We got Jalen Rose still here. Are you okay? Uncle, are you okay?
Yeah, today, man. Old man problems.
Me and Jay will don't understand those, but maybe we'll get there one day, and you can walk us through it when we get there, okay?
That's cool, Maria.
Gotta do it. The reason, I'm in such a good mood is because the NBA is back. Woj was the first one to report it, but now we know for sure that we will have an ending to the season. We know there will be 22 teams that will be headed to Orlando. We know who those 22 teams are, 16 of which have been broken up 8-8 from the East and the West. And then we also have 6 teams that are currently 6 games or fewer behind the 8 seed in their respective conferences that will also add up into that 22. It'll be great to see the game start again, but when you guys first heard the ideas behind what the play-in games might look like or what the 22 teams would be, what was your reaction? We can start with you, Uncle P, on your welcome back today.
Normally, originally I was just excited, that the NBA had the conversation about coming back, and now that it's official, and knowing that the format was going to be different than any other format based on COVID and delaying the season. I think it's pretty fair. You give those teams that's on the outside looking in an opportunity, knowing that they can't play out the games that you have. You still have the opportunity to make the playoff. So they have 17 games left. A shortened schedule. If you're 4 games are in, you have a chance to make it in. I think it's fair. At the end of the day, I think, you give those teams an opportunity to see if they can play their way into a playoff slot. And I'm excited for it to be back. It's going to be exciting. I'll be both interested, and I'm going to be biased in this, but I really want the Pelicans to get in.
I'm with you on that, Paul. And I would say, look, I'm stoked about it. First off, basketball, I think is a sport that can bring people together. And I'm excited about watching, some of our elite athletes and people that are taking on the charges and other causes get a chance to perform in front of the world. They're going to have the biggest platform there's ever been, to be frank about it. And, I think it allows, this is a chance for the NBA, I feel like, to kind of do these case scenarios with this, right? Not saying this is going to become the norm, but, what's the fan engagements? What's the feedback from the media, their critique? How much revenue are we going to generate around this play-in type of scenario? And, the only thing I have that's interesting when you think about it, like Memphis had the toughest remaining regular season schedule. And then you had the Pelicans that had one of the easiest. So if you're one of those teams, how do you do that within that short period in which you have to play, considering you've lost a lot of those teams that the Pelicans are against that could have raised up what their status is. But the reality is you're going to have a chance to play, and, beggars can't be choosers as part of the game.
Actually, it's going to create something unique that the NBA doesn't always have, and that's interest in the bottom. Usually you go into training camp, it's a handful of teams that feel like if they don't win the championship, it's a failed season. So on paper, that would have been Lakers, Clippers, and probably Bucks. But now you look to the bottom part of the West, young stars that haven't played in the playoffs like Devin Booker, 13th seed in the West, get a chance to ball and get some experience. Luka Doncic, Paul's guy, they were already in. But like Jay mentioned, you got Ja Morant, you got Dame, you got Zion and Ingram. And so having those young superstars basically be a part of a play-in, and also having teams down there that can be guinea pigs for the other big teams. That's really what that is. Like if Phoenix win, congratulations, but really they're down there to be a guinea pig. Put squads on the schedule, take these L's, let's see who's going to get into the playoffs. So let's see if one of those squads can upset somebody.
Okay, can I give you the take these L's teams and you tell me who is most capable of upsetting somebody then? I like this. Okay. That's what I'm going to call them from now on.
That's a good game.
Yeah, take these L's teams are New Orleans Pelicans, Portland Trailblazers, Phoenix Suns, Sacramento Kings, San Antonio Spurs. That's in the West. And then the Washington Wizards in the East. Who's most likely to be a little bit of a spoiler in this situation? We always love spoilers in the NCAA tournament. We like Cinderella teams. Maybe we'll get one in Orlando. You got one, Jay Will?
I got Portland. I'm excited. I mean, look, I think Dame got something to play for. You know, I know Jay Rose and I have mentioned this before about them. Like, I always thought their issue was just health. You know, it was always health. And for a team that got to the Western Conference Finals last year, I know that Dame and CJ got something to prove. Zach Collins gets back on the court. Nurkic, I mean, they got a squad. I wouldn't count them out. Plus with Melo, now Melo gets a chance to fit in with a team that's fully healthy. I'm going to look forward to watching the Trailblazers ball out.
Yeah, more interesting. I think they're more exciting. I mean, yeah, Portland health, but when you think about the Portland Trailblazers, other players coming back from injury, is going to be chemistry issues. You know, this is almost like preseason again. You know, if you haven't had your team all year long and then you implement them back in the plan, right? Chemistry can be a factor in all of this. So even teams at the top, you got to refine. You know, everybody understanding their role and in shape. I wouldn't be surprised if you see like somewhere in the 2 and a 4 seed get knocked off in the first. Keep it all the way real. Just based on the layoff, based on maybe the teams at the bottom having more youth and just no pressure. I really see somebody get knocked off with home court.
Jay Rose, can I ask you a question? Like the Clippers, right? Obviously, they're going to be a favorite, but I'm interested, like for having like Kawhi and PG who've been injury prone throughout most of the year, like them having time off. Like if you haven't been training to get your body back and then all of a sudden you're coming in these 8 games and right into the playoffs, like that's something if you're Doc Rivers, you have to be somewhat worried about to a degree. Because guys haven't hooped, right? Your body goes out of commission for a while, goes in the shop. It doesn't normally just come out running great right away if you push it hard.
And that's why you hope not to start the season until late in July. So this next, 60 days is about exactly what you just said, Jay. Get these guys up to speed so nobody gets hurt. But I agree with you that they are a team to watch for with that, but they have so much depth. I think they can find a way to overcome it. I'm going to tell you the team that I'm worried about in this scenario, and I'm going to tell you who I believe can take them down. Cover your ear. Open your ears, Paul Pierce. Open your ears, Paul Pierce. Open your ears, Paul Pierce. In a neutral situation, the way the season is about to be shotgun start again, I'm taking the Celtics in the East.
Ooh.
That's not.
I'm taking the Celtics in the East because one of the great things about the Bucks is, of course, their game does travel, but their home court was a huge advantage for them, a major advantage. And if we playing pickup ball and the Celtics and the Bucks players are in the gym, I'm gonna pick Giannis, but the next 4 or 5 picks gonna be Celtics.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my choice to come out of the East.
That's a good choice. I'm telling you, first, what we got to understand, all the years we played, Jay and Jay Will, when you know how we started the preseason. And I think the first few games, 4 or 5 games, like a game. It's going to be a lot of turnovers, a lot of miscommunication. And I think it's open game. Teams that should win are going to probably drop some games. It's going to be closer than you think. The upset's going to be there. I'm almost doing this tournament. Even though you get 7 games, if a team goes up 2-0, underdog, that could be an advantage, especially when, I said, the chemistry is not going to be there. I don't care how many practices you get. You all know when we went to that preseason game, how many turnovers you going to have? 20, 22. Guys getting their legs up under them because I don't care them 60 days or 30 days you had to get in shape. Nothing that you can do in practice is going to simulate an NBA game, period. If you get into that game.
You know what's interesting, though? Jalen, you just basically compared what we're about to be watching, like pickup basketball. Does that the type of basketball that we're going to see in Orlando that's playing in the favor of certain teams. Like maybe it's the Rockets. I mean, I don't know, because we know that they're going to shoot threes, they're going to run and gun, and that's what they do. Are there certain teams that might just benefit from the situation that we found ourselves in to close out this season?
That's exactly where I'm going, Maria. I'm loving teams like the Celtics and the Rockets.
Yeah.
Small ball, spread it out, and take advantage of the big guys that can't score against little guys. That's really what it's going to be. It's going to be like AAU out there.
Let's go.
These dudes been off for months. So like dudes like Russ, if James Harden can get hot, he averaging 40, and then Russ, like Boston winning the East. As the more I think about this, the more I think about I hadn't said, God strike me down. I hadn't said this out of my mouth or even thought about it one time until we had this conversation until right now. Boston winning the East, and to your point, Maria, don't sleep on Houston in the West, but they ain't better than the Lakers or the Clippers.
Are you going to take Boston to win the East, Paul?
I'm not mad. You know, Milwaukee was a favorite, but look at the scenario. No home court advantage, really. I mean, in a neutral setting, who you have home court, it doesn't even matter what color you wear. I mean, you're gonna wear your home whites to represent home with no crowd, and you're not even on your home court. I mean, it's open game. It's open. We all know that role play great at home, play better at home, and now you're in a neutral setting. It's gonna be tough, man. It's people don't understand how great home court advantage is and the momentum shifts that happen in the game of basketball because of home. I don't know how it is in baseball. I don't know how football, but home court really means something in basketball. And for no one to really, you're going to psychologically have home court, but it's really neutral. So it's open game. I feel like the playoffs are going to be one of the loudest playoffs we've seen in
Jay Will, I feel like we've heard a couple of predictions. You love giving way too soon, too early predictions. That's like your jam. That's your thing.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Was it the Sixers that are supposed to win the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, look.
So I'm giving you a chance. You can recant that, and you can pick your East and West team right now. So
that's why it's called.
That's
why it's called preseason, Maria. Preseason. Damn.
It's a new season. Okay, so now go again.
All right, so I'll take. You know, I do like Jay Rose's pick with the Celtics. I'm not sure if Paul really picked the Celtics. He kind of like.
Yeah, but all right, let me think. My surprise team out of the Eastern Conference, and I love Boston. I love the talent, youth legs, and coaching. But you have to give stock to the Toronto Raptors.
Okay.
You got to give stock to the Toronto Raptors. They the defending champs, and people, how they were playing late in the season going into this break, they showed that they have a heart of a champion. They were going to compete because when Kawhi left, I thought they were dead in the water, but they balled out, and Siakam has become a superstar in this league. They have leadership in Lowry and great role players. Gasol getting healthy. He's healthy now. Just watch out for them, and don't underestimate the heart of a champion. We saw that with the Rockets in the 90s. Houston Rockets didn't have a chance to repeat. I didn't think they did, and they wind up doing it, and I can see the Toronto out of the East. And in the West, like Jay said, man, in a pickup game situation, Houston is going to be scary.
Hard.
They're going to be scary, man. So I mean, if I had to put money on it, I wouldn't bet Houston. I would fear Houston in this.
So I love the Toronto pick. Norman Powell getting healthy too with Fred VanVleet. I love the way they play. It's still going to be hard for me not to go with the Bucks. Maybe it's just because it's a burning image, and I know they were great at home. It was the way they all defended and the way that those pieces really meshed that I still have the Bucks as the favorite. The West is going to be up in flames, Jay Rose. Like, part of me wants to go with the Rockets because I feel like Daryl Morey. I mean, think about what happened to him this year, going from everything with China being really, really low to almost getting fired, then all of a sudden to making the trade and making everything work and playing that fast. They're going to be right there. Just going to be hard for me to go against the Lakers, though, man. I don't know.
My question. So when I think about pickup ball and, those hot days in summer where, you come from an early work to play pickleball, which I, kind of see this playing out in the NBA. You have no crowd, no home court.
I love this. I love it.
Where does the energy come from? And so when I look down top to bottom, who's motivating who? And I love that pick with the Milwaukee Bucks because the intensity of Giannis is going to uplift his team in any set.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
You know what I'm saying? A guy that can, like a Garnett, in a practice, it could be practice is going to be tense every single day. And that's when you have no crowds, but you play in practice like a game. So who's that player on each side that can really lead their team? And Giannis is one of them to me now that I look down the line. And on the other side, Russ is one of those guys. Now
That's fair. Yeah.
Yep.
In a closed gym, who's going to uplift? Who's going to be like no matter if it's a crowd or not, who's going to be yelling? Who's going to be intense? Who's going to uplift that team? That's going to be like, all right, we going. Regardless of a crowd, because we know the crowd will get you going. When there's no crowd, you need that leader, you need that player to take you to that leader.
And J. Rose, I'll say this. I hope that our network finds a way to mic some players. I pray, because you know that, Paul, like you were one of the best of the game, and J. Rose, you pick up basketball, you get a chance, like you don't get a chance to find out who the dogs are. And like, let's talk. I want to hear conversations. I want to see who's going to be a beta, who's going to be an alpha. I want to see that.
Yeah.
We might need a 2-minute delay on that, but we can work that out. We might need all the mics to be completely delayed, but it can 1,000% work. J. Rose, you in agreement with that? With the personalities, the leadership, the dogs will rise in a tournament this style?
Yeah. Absolutely. Trust me, do not look at this as traditional basketball. This ain't normal. And so that's why I'm like, Giannis is going to be that, P. He is going to be that. Right. But one of the things about the Bucks is they are well-oiled machines. Like it's going to be a little off. It's going to be a little off. And that, to me, is going to give the Celtics that chance to come out of the East. And I like what you guys are saying about the Raptors because they're going to play hard. Yeah. They just going to play hard. Like, people ain't going to know who they are. Like, they're going to be that AAU team on the other side. Jay, you know this. They don't have no shoes. They don't have no
they weren't Adidas. They weren't Nike.
Yeah. Those are the ones they got no sponsor. They're just playing hard. You like, damn, I hope they lose. I don't want to play against them. That's how the Raptors going to be.
I love that analogy. I love thinking of the NBA like flexing into an AAU basketball tournament. It's going to be fun regardless, and we're going to be there the entire time. I don't know where we're going to be. I don't know how we're going to show up, but this team will be a part of it, breaking down all of that news and bringing you all of that action. One thing I have to hit before we go, because I just want everyone to get on their soapbox for a second, is obviously we all saw Drew Brees' comments and, the narrative that he is still maintaining about Colin Kaepernick and his protest. And, the first thing that he says in reaction to being asked about kneeling taking place next season was that, he doesn't agree with anything that will disrespect the flag or the country and, that his grandfathers fought for this country. And that's what he thinks when he hears the national anthem. So it was a progression of the same narrative that we saw basically get Colin Kaepernick removed from the NFL. And I'm just curious what you guys thought about that. And also, as a team or as a player, if you had someone on your team that had that comment made, what would your reaction be when you got back into the locker room with them? Jalen, let's start with you.
So I first want to acknowledge that he just made an ignorant statement. And I feel different about stuff like this than most people. Maybe it's my age and I've seen like so much happening in the country. So like when I see players getting the opportunity in college to get paid for their name, image, and likeness, as much as I want to talk about it, in my head, I've been talking about it for 30 years. And that's kind of how I feel about this topic. But for Drew Brees, here's what truly happens. Because I watched those shows like the one he was on, right? He thought that he was amongst friends. He was at a work party, got a little too drunk. I'm just using an analogy. There's a work party, got a little too drunk, started saying too much, and thought that nobody else was going to hear it. That he wouldn't have said that on ESPN or Fox or nothing like that. He thought he was just talking to his other audience, which he's allowed to do. And so when he said it, and I saw that he was trending, I was actually mad, guys, and here's why. Why do we get mad at people for telling us how we feel? Why are we mad about that? Didn't we learn from the election? Everybody told us this may happen, and then something totally different happened. Well, I'm like, these people that have bumper stickers, I ain't see all these people with stuff on their grass. They just went in there and did it. And so now that I hear his apology, it's because he got pressured. It's not truly how he feels. So now that's phony. And we're phony if we buy into the apology. And so if I'm one of his teammates, he's Drew Brees, Hall of Famer. I'm Michael Thomas. I don't like you, dog. You better throw it to me every time. You know, that's really all it is. As soon as your production fall off, put Jameis in there. What's going on with Taysom Hill? That's how I would be as a teammate.
Man, let me tell you, me personally, I could work with dude because he's totally insensitive to the time of what's going on today. And I don't care if he was at a corporate party or whatever, when he said it. Man, I can't be I can't even look you in the eye and be serious like about your apology. There's nothing you can tell me to my face as your teammate, but your teammates as players anyway, that's gonna bring to back to where we were a year ago. Because for one, you showed your true colors. Now I'm at where, you know what, dude, I can't play with you no more. If I'm a star receiver, I'm not running these routes. If I'm a blocker, I'm blocking for you, dog. We gonna have to go in a whole new direction. It's time. Your time is up, Drew. You totally sensitive to the time and everything we going through. And you play in the South. And you play in the South, where most of your audience black and the people you go around and throughout the neighborhoods. That come on, man. I'm done with you. I can't play with you no more. It's something they gonna have to cut, dude. They gonna have to cut, dude, because I'm not running no routes. I'm not blocking for you. I can't go to war with you if you feel that way. If you ain't going to war, you ain't going to war for us. I ain't going to war for you.
Paul, I'm with you, man. I don't. I feel like as Black people, we're so forgiving, right? We have been in the past, and I don't know where the hell Drew Brees has been, but if you hear this conversation, if you get asked that question, like how do you not have a conversation with yourself before words even come out of your mouth? Like how are you not able to do that? And the fact that he wasn't able to do that, I feel like I was like, all right, Drew Brees, thank you. I know who you are now. Thank you. Yeah. And I hear you in your apology. Cool. I got you. Like, I'm still moving my ship in this direction. We're still moving. There's a lot of other people I'm going to free their minds. But you right now, I don't know. I can't mess with you. And that's where it is. Let's move on. That's how I feel about it.
Agreed.
Lost a lot of credibility.
He had multiple years to have a conversation with a Black person on his team and have them actually address the issue and explain why Colin Kaepernick was kneeling. And he chose not to listen to that and or be sympathetic or empathetic to that. So I'm just like, I don't understand where you're coming from. And I feel like this should be a lesson to white people that would like to insert their grandparents into a conversation about racial inequality. Because my grandmother couldn't go to the University of Georgia because of the color of her skin, and my great-great-grandmother was a slave. So anytime you try to tell me that, you know, something means something special to you and it's the history of whatever, it's like my history and your history are different. So that's exactly why we're in the place that we are right now. And at the end of the day, I think Maya Angelou said it best, and it's when a person shows you who they are, believe it the first time.
Believe them.
Yep,
believe them. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to believe who Drew Brees is the first time he said it, first time it came out of his mouth, and we're thankful. Thank you for the apology, but we don't really need that.
Well, we know one contending team that ain't winning the Super Bowl.
Who?
That's for sure. The Saints.
The Saints.
The Saints.
You imagine that first snap, J. Rose? That first snap when you need your offensive line to protect you?
Like Paul said, they ain't winning Super Bowl this year. They ain't winning Super Bowl.
We got so many people going over and buying Pelican season tickets now. Look at that. That might have just helped Zion. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in New Orleans anymore. Guys, thank you again for another great NBA countdown. We got basketball coming back. We're excited about the future. Listen, we're going to try to keep our heads up and we'll keep breaking down, you know, the things that come across our desk. But I'll see you next week. Be safe this weekend. Make all the right decisions and pay attention to those curfews, Paul.
You.
Yeah, it's a
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.